So who's ready for a treat? So Dr. Sue Rubin, boy, one of a kind. So I first met Dr. Sue, who knows how I met you, but I remember some of my first encounters with Dr. Sue at Asilomar. Asilomar was for years was the annual gathering of the organization known as Religious Science International, International Centers for Spiritual Living. It was the parent organization for which we are a part of. And in the business meetings, it would become quite contentious sometimes. I'm sure that comes as a surprise to you guys, right? When we talk about money. And when I'm saying contentious, meaning most of these are ministers or practitioners, they're less than ministerial or practitioner side would show up. And they would get vocal, and Dr. Sue would get up and walk to the microphone in the aisle and tap on it and say, "It's time for us to do spiritual mind treatment." And she would bring everybody right back into alignment. And so that's who Dr. Sue is. She transcends traditional human belief systems by living from her divinity. And she is one of the most ageless wonders I know. I'm not going to tell you what a lady's age is. If she wants to tell you, she can. But what I do know about her is that she loves to dance, and she's a great dancer on top of that. And she lives her truth. She came into this teaching and grabbed it, if you will, in a way that not only changed her life, but changed the life of multitudes. She took off and left Southern California and went to Canada and started a center there, lived up in the cold there, and then came back to Westlake for many years and had a very thriving center there, and then moved into her rewirement of living her life fully and guest speaking. Many of you know her. She was an integral part of this center here when it was going through a transition post Dr. Walker and prior to John, and before I came along here in this role. So she is a gift to not only this community, but to our teaching and our philosophy, and already has left a legacy, a footprint on it, and that legacy is just growing day by day by day. I welcome to the Bema the one and only Dr. Sue Rubin.
Oh, wow. Wow. Where is she? Is she still living? It sounded like, geez. That was fabulous. Thank you, Dr. Keith. What I remember is you were facilitating a panel at Asilomar. Do you remember that? And I think I was just kind of like purposely being annoyingly spiritual. You know how you can get that feeling of superiority? Why can't everyone be like me, think like me, treat like me, love like me, be distant like me? All of that and more. So I want you to do something. I want you to close your eyes for a minute. We're sitting in a synagogue. You have been here many times. What do you remember is written on the walls surrounding you or beneath the Star of David? Anybody remember what it says beneath the Star of David? No peeking. Anybody? Just speak it out. What is it? Yes, compassion. Yes, yeah. Yes, that's the beautiful one. That's good, because you can open your eyes, or if you want to keep them closed, by all means. You want to get up and stretch, it's okay. I thoroughly get the tone and the texture, and I'm all for it. So, what have you learned since last we met? It's been a while. In fact, without being very specific, I am most honored and delighted to see someone who was part of a Science of Mind, at that time 101 class with me in Westlake Village in 1996. And he is carrying his textbook today with my inscription from 22 years ago. So let's just hear it for the Simpsons. No kidding, it's the Simpsons. Who also, Heather grew up in teen camp. So I mean, have you got it? Have I got it? You know, Dr. Keith has been talking about belief and freedom. And that's what I want to follow through with, because I think it's a fabulous way of discovering how what I believe either frees me or enslaves me. And if I think I'm free, simply based on the physicality of supposedly the democracy of governance that we all are privileged to enjoy, that's not even the tip of the iceberg. It's so far beneath it. And so to be sitting, I'm thinking, I don't know how long the congregation was in this facility, has been in this facility, but when you think of all the words, the Hebrew, if it is spoken, I'm not sure it is in a Reformed temple, but if you just realize the walls that hold all of the truth in every temple, in every synagogue, in every church, in every center, in every ashram, in every place where that which is lauded and held higher as incorporating and yet being greater than the humanness that we all can very easily get stuck in. So I love that. And I'm going to change it and invite you to do the same by converting it to a statement of I am, a personal. For example, with me is the fountain of life. By my light do all see light. Let's say that together. With me is the fountain of life. By my light do all see light. And it very much reminds me of the teaching of the Christ that said, I, as I am lifted, draw all others unto me. And I believe it is in the Buddhist tradition that it says, if I'm not healed, no one is healed. When I'm healed, everyone is healed. And that to me is simply a testament to the unity of all life at its core. See, that was a profound emphasis upon truth. Truth will announce itself. Just give it a chance. Connect the dots. So belief, you know, we have a fabulous statement of Declaration of Principles. Anybody remember one right off the top of your head? A Declaration of the Principles of Science of Mind. Anyone? We believe. What? Jody, hi. Okay, so for example, we believe in the eternality, the universality, the immortality of every soul, and that every soul discovers God to the degree one makes that. I'm kind of taking license now. Makes that a personal creed, a personal way of living life. So belief, yeah, come into the science of mind. I came from Judaism. And what's so ironic is 3 weeks ago, I spoke for another colleague, Jim Terrell, and they meet in a synagogue, and it's a reconstructionist form of Judaism. Anybody know what that's about? I keep promising. It's just amazing, you know, that everything is based on that circular, ongoing continuity, that where you found yourselves perhaps originally, whether it was in a Quaker study group, in church, in whatever form of orientation to a higher power of your own understanding, whatever that was, the journey ultimately, I think, and we are a living proof of it, is the idea I've got to discover for myself what it is that speaks to me in my own language, but from a higher tone, from a greater frequency, from something that is alive and vibrating with what? With the presence and power of God. So I can say I believe in a number of things, and I can most likely be doing that from a conscious level of my awareness. What really is telling is my effect, my world of health, of creativity, of work, of relationships, of everything that goes on in my world of human experience. That's my proof. That's where the effects of life point me back to what I really believe. Point me back to what I really believe. So for example, who among us, when we're being honest, would be able to say, well, my life is absolutely a sheer reflection of the perfection of God. Every relationship is just blooming and blossoming with the equal reciprocal action of love, coming in and going out and coming in. Oh, my body, it is youthful and vigorous and robust and alive and healthy. Every cell is alive and just tingling and glowing. You know who used to say that? That was Charles Fillmore. at 97 or something, he had this little statement: I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm. Literally. So how about, say with me, I sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm. I sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm. It's flowing through my mind, my body, and my life. It's flowing through my mind, my body, and my life. I mean, that's what feeds and nourishes and regenerates and revitalizes every cell. So Keith said I had a big birthday recently. I did. So, you want to make something of it? Because I realized for many years I made insinuations and intimations as to my age. I would say that the Academy Awards, the very first Academy Awards, and I were the same age. Now, does anyone remember when the first Academy Awards? Who said it? 28? That's it. That was the year of my birth. So that's all I ever said. 2 years ago, in 2016 in Salt Lake City, I was most honored to be presented with the CSL 2016 Meritorious Ministers Award. So, yeah, thank you. So I took my family, because I realized when I went traipsing off to Edmonton in 1985, I left 3 kids at home. No, not really like, Mama, don't go. We're only 2 years old, nothing like that. My 2 older were already out on their own. My youngest was 18. He was at home, still going to school. So, time marches on, and I knew that they were such a part of my ministry, because in many ways, and it is factual and actual, that they took second position to being the primary focus of my life. It was something that I know you all know in one way or another. It's a choiceless choice. Somehow I knew this is what I had to do. Nice Jewish girl from Manhattan heading to Edmonton. I always thought it was somewhere in California. So that was that. We all went. It was a fabulous visit. And Jane Ryder, another one of our colleagues, was my introducer and presenter of the award. And she had lovely things to say, which of course were all true. And then she said, and I now present to you this fabulous, fantastic 88-year-old woman. And it was like, everything I just like, I couldn't believe my own, I wanted to. So anyway, that was, I came out. That was my year of coming out. That was it. And I realized if I have something that could be presented as a message for people, particularly there's a big influx of information and an exchange of communication about conscious aging. And I mean, let's face it, we're not sitting in a room of 20 and 30-year-olds predominantly. And our entire movement, if you really look at it, is, again, primarily a mature, aging group of people. So if that's the case, and if we are really myth busters, able to stand and say, you can be 70, you can be 80, you can be 90, you can be enjoying the creative expression of God, and the more you do it, the more life feeds what it is being fed by and looked at. It is that reciprocal action. You know, we have so many handy-dandy beliefs and principles that we offer in the science of mind and in all metaphysical teachings. But the bottom line is, what do I buy into? What is it for me that sings in my heart? It's what causes me to wake up in the morning, and what provides me with a quiet and peaceful night's sleep. And that's why the youth that have come up through the trainings under the love and the guidance and the direction of Dr. Keith. The millennials, the young adults within our movement are talking to the idea that you can't do church the way we've all been used to doing church, and yet why would I want to sacrifice all? It's the old throwing out the baby with the bathwater, because there is something of ritual. You know, I was thinking as the candles were being lit, and of course, for all kinds of safety and other reasons, they're all now just lit electronically. And I had the picture when you were lighting the candles of the ancient rabbi with his chalice and his shawl and his yarmulke, and I had a picture of him saying, What are you doing with lighting? Give me a candle, give me a match, for God's sakes. So, you know, some of this stuff, you just don't want it to go away. So belief. What I believe is looking me right in the face. It's sitting on my doorstep and on yours. And it is the effect that points us back to cause. That my outer world is simply designed as a mirror, as a reflection of what really I believe, what I think. How free am I? You know, freedom is a sense of liberation where we disengage from so many of the beliefs and the patterns and the thoughts and the memories and the experiences and the places we're all stuck. I continue to remind myself of how amazing it is that if ever my ego wants to rise to the fore and say, you've come so far, it's like, sure enough, something will happen to remind me how little I have traveled and how willing I continue to be to learn about myself so that I can more fully relate to the God of my understanding, which, yes, it's working for me by working through me, and yet it's the right way that I think. It's the good way that I feel. It's the wholesome way that I can embrace every part of my mind and my body as it goes through its stages. When you were first playing with the first musical selection, the last one, it was like a perfect West Coast swing, that blues. It took everything I had to keep from going, 1, 2, dun, dun, dun. Anyway, I digress. Why not? So, if I believe with every fiber of my being, I believe there is one power and I am one with it. Let's say that together. I believe there is one power and I am one with it. It is life, it is love. It is life, it is love, it is truth, it is beauty, it's truth, it is beauty, and it's always right where I am. It's always right where I am. Yes, I agree. Do I have a witness? Hallelujah. L'chaim, l'chaim. So that's one of my focuses, really. I believe that spiritual mind treatment, under whatever name you give it, affirmative prayer, scientific prayer, Holmes often refers to it in the textbook, whatever that thing is that causes us to consciously be aware of our inseparable unity with the divine, I believe it is the most underutilized tool that we as religious scientists, yes, we are religious scientists. Every time I still look at my license or my doctorate, it's all under the auspices of religious science. So, to be able to access that with immediacy, with that moment-by-moment opportunity, I do some of my best treatments in Trader Joe's, in Whole Foods. My personal favorite is Gelson's, because cooking, not much my thing, except cooking up a spiritual storm of stew. Because in moments that require a treatment, it, to me, does not suffice to say, oh, okay, I'll treat for you. Arrivederci, over and out. why not do it right here and right now? So I will meet someone in the area who knows me and I know them, and they say, oh my God, it must be a sign that I would meet you in the meat aisle. Why? How are you? Oh, duh, this is going on, that's going on. Well, let's treat. And the person most usually will say, here? We can move to the grocery aisle if you prefer. And that's the moment, not to go into a big philosophical expression of anything, but to know that beyond what you're presently experiencing, and who in life today isn't experiencing some level of discord, of upheaval, of concern, of fear, of anxiety. We're not alive if we're not in some degree aware of how we are feeling about what is happening in the world, and that's where what I believe is the key to freedom. Because if in the midst of it all, I can say, along with all the wise ones, all the teachers, that in the world you will always have tribulation, but I am not in the world. I may be in the form of the world, but I am not of it. I am not of its essence, because life itself does not have the evidence of essence other than in the forms that we carry, and in the ways that we portray ourselves, and in the ways that we are shameless and fearless and bold about declaring God is all there is and God and I are one. My four most favorite words: God is, I am. Would you say that with me? God is, I am. And I do that because, number one, I think it is the sign for God is this. The other point is, if you metaphysically look at everything as being a metaphor for something that is standing in physical form, you have the cross, right? The cross, on which we all know from Christianity, the Christ was crucified and rose again. What was crucified on that cross was simply a form. What elevated was the spirit of absolute wholeness. But if you look at this vertical line of the cross, that really is a symbol, extends far beyond where we can see it, beneath the bowels of the earth and higher than the skies above. That is our divine nature, that from the tip of our toes, from the top of our head, encompassing all points in between and reaching beyond and below, that is divinity. That is the invisibility you don't get to see. And what you finally do see is how you express it. That's the horizontal. So every time I go like this, we once had a ritual. In fact, it was at Lake Arrowhead. Dr. Maura Fox. I think I just made her Jewish. It's the influence. I'll have to tell her. Do you ever just have to laugh at the cool way in which mind operates cosmically? Anyway, the Redondo Center for Spiritual Living has put on a Memorial Day weekend. Every year, I think literally for the past 50 years, started with Frank and Anita Richelieu at Lake Arrowhead up at the UCLA Conference Center. The opening night, we did a ritual. And what they had laid out, they had oils with which to anoint yourself. They had fresh water in a bowl to wash your hands, and affirmations of truth that one would state as doing all this. And so I found myself like washing my hands, cleansing and knowing the purifying action of God is taking place symbolically and physically. And when it came to the oil, it was like this Jewish person, which I thought was my original tradition, I took the oil and I made the sign of the cross. And Moira happened to be behind that table, and she kind of So if indeed this is God is, life is, truth is, beauty is, this is as much of it that gets expressed in the world as I allow, as I permit, as I welcome, as I give. And I think it's a wonderful thing to have a symbol just when we're out of sorts. Anybody ever out of sorts? To be able to do something. Snap your finger. Remember we used to wear rubber bands to snap back? You could set your handy-dandy watch, Fitbit, all of the tools and techniques and technologies, every minute on every hour as a reminder, God is, I am. Yes, so I am returning to truth moment by moment by moment. And I know that by cleaning out my own clutter and really defining and assessing and honestly and meticulously freeing myself of every false belief, whether I carried it down from where I grew up, whether I picked it up while I was growing up, it's not enough anymore for any of us to just wake up. I know that God is all there is and God and I are one. It isn't. This world needs us to not only wake up, but to clean up, to clear up, to fess up, to purify and free ourselves so that we now are in a position today, in our lives today, to step up, to show up, to stand up for the truth of our being so that we, as we are lifted, as we are the fountain of life, by our light indeed, does everyone see the light. And it's got to begin right here, right now, where I am, right where you are. And that's the way it really is. Thank you.
Dr. Sue Rubin. Receive the applause, Dr. Sue. Yes. Thank you. I needed that. I did.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Good. And I know for each of you that as she stood before you and said, I am, you all knew that she was speaking for you were hearing it in the I am for yourself as well. The brilliance of Dr. Sue Rubin and her friend, Dr. Moira Fisher, who's a former nun. She's actually still a nun. She just doesn't practice as a nun anymore.
Right,
so
right.
I don't know who's going to get to tell her that first. Dr. Fisher. So,
Dr. Fisher.
So let's just take a moment and breathe in the brilliance of Dr. Sue Rubin and outing herself, not only chronologically, but sharing her soul and her spirit with you. I was there the day that she was outed as an almost 90-year-old woman, so take it in. Good. So we have our musicians back, and they've got more brilliance to share with you in the form of music to support awakening you to your spiritual magnificence. So we have Guy, Yaron, Agum, and James. Agam. I had my vowel off. All right, go for it. Enjoy.
Check one. Got it? Here we go. Uno más. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. And everybody's got a name, but some don't know how to handle it. Always reaching out in vain, accepting things none of that. Don't you worry about a thing. Don't you worry about a thing, mama. 'Cause I was standing on the side and you check it out. They say the style of life's a drag, and that you must go other places. Don't you feel too bad when you get fooled by a smiling face? check it out. Yeah. When you get off the trip, don't you worry about don't you worry about a thing, mama, 'cause I'll be standing on the side when you check it out. Don't you worry.
James and the CSLLA dancers. I love it.
Where?
Good. Dancing's important, right? Got to shake your groove thing. Fantastic. All right, so continuing to shake our groove thing is the opportunity for us to give of our financial good to our beloved community known as Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. If I can have the ushers come forward with your beautifully woven bags. For those of you that are here to consciously give today, whether it's online or live here in person, your options to give are by cash, check, credit card. I know, just waiting for you to finish. So credit card and or online, you can give through our website and or through our app. And so just want to let you know that we appreciate all donations that come in. And right now we're running at about $62 per person to run our business, and just want you guys to have that information so that you know that. And also to let those of you that are watching online know that we appreciate you watching online. And as you watch online, you can donate to keep that live stream up and running as well. And so take that which you're giving today and place it close to your heart. The reason that we do that is the heart symbolizes love, and we know that, as Dr. Sue was saying, we are love, and so as we give with love, we're mirroring that which is the nature of the universe. And just use it as a blessing as you hold it close to your heart. And then affirm and repeat with me. Conscious giving heals. It awakens and enlivens within me a deeper awareness of who I am. So as I give today, it is a reflection of my shining my light unto the world. I do this consciously and trust and know that it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is.
It's a gift to be simple, it's a gift to be free, it's a gift to come down to where you want to be. And when we find ourselves in a place just right, we will be in the valley of love and the light, where true simplicity is made to bow and beg, we should be ashamed to turn. Will be our life without turning, we come round and right.
Thank you, Yaron. Thank you, guys. So I have some announcements for everyone. So we'll wait for them to wrap up there in the back. There they go. So we want a big thank you to our practitioner of the day, Jim Evering. And our illuminator, Dan Turman. A big thank you to our musicians today, Yaron Spiewak, James Harper, Guy Azule, and Aguam Timor. Thank you so much. Yes. Our board member on duty today is Gary Bond. Gary, raise your hand, please. If you have any constructive criticism or anything that you would like to see to enhance what we're doing here at the Center for Spiritual Living, please feel free to see Gary in the back, and he'll be happy to take that information and pass it along. Some announcements that I have also a huge thank you to our sound team, Jesus Ernesto Ruiz and Bob Zwolinski, and Reverend Edward for setup. So some announcements. The online guided meditation continues this week, Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. If you'd like to join that, please make sure that you get our weekly e-newsletter. If you are not receiving it and you would like to, you can sign up at the welcome table in the back with Reverend Edward. It goes out every Tuesday and has all of the announcements and what's going on here there as well. Dance class continues. It's called The Spirit of Dance on Friday mornings at 11:30 at the Hollywood Dance Center. It's choreographed by Walter Painter and his beloved wife. Walter's here today. Hello, Walter. Glad to see you. That's $15, and it's a lot of fun to awaken within you your divinity and let it move and groove in a fun, kind of jazzy way. Also, please continue to follow us on social media. Many of you may go, "Eek," because I've heard you do it. Go, "Eek," when I say social media. Just so you know, this lovely woman that was here speaking today, she chronicles her life of what takes place at Starbucks on social media, and it's a joy to follow. So be open to who you can meet by using social media. I'll just let it go at that. So this coming Friday night, I'm speaking here at Shabbat service. I'm looking forward to that. So if you've never been to a Shabbat service, be here at it changes because it's kind of based on sundown, but we'll have it on our website when it's going to be. But it's what time on Friday night? 7-ish, 7:30-ish, somewhere along those lines. The last Thursday of the month, which is July 26th, will be the second gathering of the noble ones, which are those that are 55 and older. Dr. Sue's already established that's the majority of us here. So feel free to come Thursday, from 10:30 to 12 here for a great gathering. We have invited the noble ones, the 55 and above, from Congregation Kolami to join us as well. So it should be a great experience. August 15th, which is a Wednesday night here in this room, we're showing a documentary called The Ripple Effect, which is chronicling the amazing work that's been done through an organization called Dream a World Education. Bunny Hull is the head of that. Dr. Sheila Hughes is on the board. And it's about taking arts into the public school systems today and the transformation that takes place as a result of that. This program and Bunny and Dream a World is very dear to my heart. If you all are not familiar with it, please be here on August 15th. We're trying to determine the exact time. It'll be somewhere between 7 and 7:30, but we're trying to set it so that the room gets dark enough that we can see the documentary. But we know that there'll at least be a principal from one of the schools here that's there. The board of Dream a World will be here. So make a point to be here and bring your friends. We're opening this to the public as well as Congregation Kolami. We have room for about 150 here, so we'd love to have that many here. Want to let you know that we're continuing to support the Sova Food Drive, which is the local Jewish community food drive. So please bring in canned goods, all kinds of other stuff. It's all on our website. It will be on our weekly e-newsletter. I want to take a moment and acknowledge those who did the setup for our fun picnic last week. So please stand when I call your name. Sandy Rovetta, Matt Fonda, Reverend Lenora Edney, David Bowman, Terry Dad, Elizabeth Dad, and Dan Turman. It was a lot of fun. And for those of you that participated, thank you for being there. It was a lot of fun, and we will continue it. And my final thank you is for my beloved soul sister, Dr. Sue Rubin, for being here today. So thank you. Let's keep. Thank you. Thank you. All right, that's it. So I'd like to invite Dr. Sue up to give a closing spiritual mind treatment. Get ready for that. And we do have flower products that are indulged in sugar and some fruit and some caffeine all ready for you. Just want to remind you that we are, from July on, for the rest of our life, no longer participating in disposable plastics. We're a just plastic-free environment. So know that we've got new paper plates, new paper cups, all of that for you. Just invite you to be conscious as you use those. They're thermal, so there's no need to double up on those. And we're being conscious in how we treat Mother Earth. So, Dr. Sue, take it away. I'll see you all out back.
And I would just like to acknowledge you and your beautiful community and where it's been, where it's going, yes, and where it is now. So I treat in the I am, which is the acknowledgement that not only God is, but I am its living embodiment, as is everything and everyone. So indeed, as you hear the words, they are your own words for yourselves. Right here and right now, I just take a moment of silence to pause and give thanks for life itself. I breathe it, I think it, I feel it, I am it. I am that which is humanly incarnate from the pure, perfect, absolute, first cause spirit, perfect God, perfect mind, perfect essence, perfect truth, perfect I am that I am. And so as I lovingly and compassionately and wisely take a moment to simply scan my life locally, globally, throughout the universe, I see it all as my call for self-elevation so that I think from, I feel from, I act from that within myself which is whole, holy, complete, perfect, creative, kind, generous, and a great contributor to the creative pool of life whereby I bring my gifts in a new way. It's never too late, too soon. I'm never too young, too old. Always I am amply, universally equipped and provided with all I require to truly reach out in service to the presence within by helping those who share this planet with me, my family of the earth. And so as I go forth from here today, I take more deeply into my awareness the recognition, the unification, the realization, the gratitude, and ultimate release unto the mind of God for all matters that pertain to my unique way of not only awakening to my spiritual magnificence, but to contribute from that place of fullness, richness, totality, isness, and allness of being to make a difference by what I bring to life as I navigate through it, where I am, day by day, in every way, at home, at the market, at my spiritual community. Wherever I am, I remember God is standing, moving, thinking, and speaking by means of me, and so I make it a worthwhile experience for myself and all. I accept this with the full measure of gratitude, appreciation, and the clear knowingness that I am now prompted by the creative impulse itself to be more than I've ever been in new ways that I have now a readiness and an acceptance of giving forth, and I know it as all good and very good. And in declaration of appreciation for love that points the way and the law that makes the way possible, in unity, acceptance, and joy, let us all declare God is, I am, and so it is. Together, God is, I am, and so it is.